Good afternoon, friends. In this session of marketing, we would be addressing various facets. What we'll be doing in this session is we'll be picking up few case studies based on whatever we have learned till now and try to integrate different perspectives from marketing perspective, be it from a strategic point of view, be it doing a SWOT analysis for itself, or looking at opportunities outside, looking at what kind of product mix the company goes through, what is the growth cycle, be it of the product or of the company as such, and we're looking at from a BCG matrix as well. So in this entire session, what we'll be doing 5 case studies and trying to address these case studies more detailed, and we will get into more details not only from the company's perspective but what is relevant from a marketing manager's perspective as well. But before we get into this, let me tell you, friends, that since you have enrolled for an MBA in marketing, if you want to really excel in your subject or any functional aspect that you want to pursue in your life, let me tell you that one of the best way to start off is find out case studies. You pick up 4, 5, 6 companies which fascinates you, which interests you, which you feel they are doing well in the organization or in the marketplace. Pick up that, start building a case, find out more about this organization, where are the topographical locations, the sizes of the organization, what are the projects that these companies are handling, what are the key strengths or portfolios which the company is based on, what are the flagship brands, what is the major contribution coming from, be it not only in products, maybe in different markets, maybe in different continents, maybe look into what kind of growth cycle the company is into. So it's always good that you start off your journey by picking up few case studies. Now it's a journey, it's a process. Now it help you on various counts, students. Number one is, once you pick up 4, 5 companies for your case studies, one, it helps to put it from an examination perspective, number one. Number two, you are more aware of the marketplace as well, what's happening around. And also, since you have picked up 4, 5 companies, start collating and collecting database of these organizations. It could be through newspapers, through journals, through magazines, and start either building a PPT or maybe a document, a Word document for that matter, or an Excel, whatever you're comfortable with. Once you start building this, it becomes very helpful. Then if you're applying for, if you're just a student, want to start your career in interviewing, it helps a lot. One, because the interviewer understands that you have done a good amount of grassroots work, suppose in which the company you're working with, and if you're aware of a lot of details of the organization. When we say details, that means also the vision and mission statement of the organization. So people appreciate this fact that you have done some kind of grassroots work. So pick up 4, 5 companies, start gathering data about it, make a case about it, and whenever you're applying for jobs as well, pick up those companies which you want to work with in the organization. It could be MNC, it could be a tier 2 companies, or any other company that you wish to work with. Great. So with this premise in the backdrop, we will start discussing few cases. Now, I have picked up this company based on few rationale. Number one, These companies, the parameters based on which I have selected these companies. Number one, they have done well in business. When I say done well, that means they have done good business, uh, not only in terms of revenues, but also in establishing a brand for themselves. They are niche in their segment. They might not be very big size-wise in the industry, but they have carved out a niche for themselves. That means they have thought something different and they did something different as well. So these are the few elementary parameters based on which I have selected these 5 cases. So let's discuss one by one. So any guesses? The first company that we are going to discuss. It might seem blank over here, but let me tell you, the number one, a question before I take off. Do you know which is the number one company of the world across all categories of companies, irrespective of industries? Any idea which company is the number one company of the world? So any guesses? You might be thinking Google, Facebook, Microsoft, IBM. Oh, so no suspense. There we go. And with no wonder that the number one organization across industries is Apple Incorporation. And one of the reasons that I have picked this company for discussing our case is because they have built a lot of things apart from building revenues. So let's discuss about Apple a bit more. Okay, so the roadmap. So this is the basic format through which we will be aligning our case study. You can also maybe use this same template or maybe something else. So in this template, what we will quickly run through is we'll get into a small bit of history because when you're building any case study of any organization, it becomes all the more relevant that you are aware about the history of the company as well. So we'll get into history, some interesting facts about Apple, which some of you might be aware, some of you might not be aware as well. The actual company profile, the mission and vision statements, market share, their SWOT analysis, and the conclusions as far as the case is concerned. Now, when we say conclusions over here, these are perspective, these are relative statements. It need not be looked upon as judgments. Now, when we are building up a case, it's always important that this gives you a perspective view. Now, it might be different for different people, but this is your view that we are putting it across. So in this case, it's my view about putting it across as far as the company is concerned. Great. Let's get back to history. So that's where the journey began as far as Apple is concerned. 1974, where the idea for Apple computers was born. 1974. That's some years back. So that's roughly around 42 years from now. Okay. So the journey began where the idea of computer was born, and then in 1976 the first computer was sold as well, and the journey continued where in 1984 the Apple introduced Macintosh, and Macintosh was a niche category in the segment, and we also need to understand this were also the period where Microsoft and IBM were also there within the marketplace and also developing computers as well. So Macintosh was introduced in 1984, and then also a phase came, because when we speak of Apple, one synonymous name always comes in is all about Steve Jobs. So one of the top recognized CEOs across the organization or across companies, I would put across. Steve Jobs, who was one of the founder members of Apple, was actually dismissed in 1985. So roughly around 10, 11 years, once the company was established, Steve Jobs was actually discharged. And the journey continued till the 90s era, and then came the new century, or just beginning of the new century, that's roughly around in 1998, Apple introduced the all-in-one, the iMac. Now understand, whenever we speak of Apple, one thing that always comes in, it's about creativity and innovation. Students understand this, that whatever things applies to organization also in a way applies to individuals as well. They are not very different, yes, content changes, but the context of what we are discussing remains the same. So when we say of creativity and innovation, students understand this point blank. And the point is that in today's turbulent times or dynamic times, I would like to call it, if you are not creative in your thought process, in your communication skills, in your behavior, in the way of doing things, if you're not creative enough, then you also become a Me Too kind of personnel as an individual or as an organization. And if you are a Me Too kind of product or a person or organization, and doesn't really matter much in each of these categories, you will find that if you're just a Me Too product or a person or a company, the days are not far when they become a dinosaur. So when I say a dinosaur, they become redundant, they become obsolete, they really become extinct in the very crudest form, if I am to say so. So if you're not creative enough to innovate new ideas, people also become dinosaurs in a way. So that's the reason these days you never speak of Nelco television. These days we never speak much of HMT. Their tagline always remained as gatekeepers to time. And the irony of the fact is that since they could not create and innovate and keep pace with changing times, they themselves are on the verge of becoming a dinosaur. Or the telegram office, it's extinct, it's gone, the office is shut down. So if you're not keeping pace with technology, with the changing times, we also become extinct. So whenever we speak of Apple, they have always led the way in terms of creativity. Now in 1998 is where they introduced the all-in-one. Now when we say all-in-one, it's about integrating different functions into the iMac. And then in 1999, a year after iMac was launched, Apple also unveiled the iBook as well. And then the journey continued from one step to the other, and the innovation also continued from iMac, the 17 model into 202, and then in 204 the iPod 3 generation, third generation, then we have iBook laptop, then we have iPod Touch, then we have iMac, then we have MacBook Pro, then we have iPhone 3Gs, then the iPads, iMac, iPad 2, iPhone 4S. Journey continues, and till now we are speaking of iWatches. So how they have tried to revolutionize technology, where people normally in the industry speak of inside out kind of frame or inside out kind of technology. Apple also thought from a different perspective of outside in. When you speak of an outside in kind of technology, and that's where watches came out. Now, right from the beginning, we have been discussing as customers were concerned, it's about relating to customers, it's about finding the needs of the customer, it's about customer delight we are speaking. We're discussing of under promising and over delivering as well. Apple brings it on. In fact, they have gone a step ahead. And for them, before identifying what the customer wants also, they have delivered the products. Now, customer even not even thought about it. Can the phone come in a watch? But before they can even think, they have delivered the product. So they're kind of a step ahead. Before the customer is thinking also, they're delivering the product. So one of the prime reasons why Apple is a number one company across all industries, there are many factors to it, but one of the prime factors is creativity and innovation. And they are right at the tip of a ballistic missile as such technology is concerned as well. Great. So some interesting facts about Apple, and that's really interesting. Now, Apple was started by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Now, Wozniak is little less known of, but when we are speaking of a number one company, we should be aware of this. Okay, so to raise enough money, when they started off this journey, they started selling of either the technology or maybe add-on services to maybe a Volkswagen or some other companies as well, maybe an IBM or an HP. Now, if you see the journey from where they began and where they are at 2013-15 era, it's definitely a number one. The number one, when we say number one, is not only in terms of size of the organization, but there were various parameters also looked into, like the leadership issues, like sector overviews, the articles and interviews, the charts, the methodology and applications of systems, the contact info and downloads. If you see on the slide, the kind of companies are there in that elite band or niche. Right from we have Google, Coca-Cola, IBM, Microsoft, GE, Toyota, a few electronics companies, Samsung, a close competitor of Apple. We have McDonald's, HP, Gillette, we have Cisco, Mercedes-Benz, few automobile company as well. We have BMW as well, the Oracle as well. So quite a niche band is this. Great. Few details about Apple. Now, Apple sold 40 million iPhones last year. I repeat, 40 million iPhones. There are roughly around 110,000 iPhones per day, and that's some size. They keep on selling it as well. So if you see the generated revenue annually is roughly $156 billion revenue generation or gross income, officially bigger than Microsoft, which is the number two company, roughly pegged at around $73 billion. And if you see the relative size comparison, it is even bigger than GDP of 100 other countries as well. And that's very fascinating to understand this. A company bigger than the GDP of a country. So, and you understand the size which the company is operating. It's huge. It's large. Now, just to give you a perspective, now the enterprise value. Now, revenue generation value is one thing that we saw that around $170 billion is what Apple is. Enterprise value is about the total market capitalization cost of the company. That means it includes asset value, the brand value, the revenues all put together. The enterprise value of Apple is around $470 billion. and the total GDP of Pakistan is around 232. So, from a relative perspective, it's double of countries like Pakistan, or half of that of India. So that's some size. And if you see, Apple makes their employees, this is one of the strategic tools that they use, that before employees, especially the key employees who are into creativity and innovation into their R&D team, especially on the technological front, they are made to work on fake projects until they can be trusted. Now, why fake projects? Because errors, mistakes could be discounted on, so that also we could look into, as an organization, we could look into how companies are trustworthy. If they're given a project, can they do it within the deadline, within timeline? That's about the time thing. But can they develop a superior product which is adding more value to its customer? Now, let's talk a bit of competition as well. Now, early, if you see, Samsung has been a very close competitor with Apple. If you see Galaxy S phones, they are absolutely similar replica of Apple. In fact, lots of cases are registered. They have sued to court as far as Apple is concerned against Samsung. If you see in the image as well, they are both replica copies. The S series, the Grand series as well. A lot of them are similar in formation. Great. Now, let's also look into the company profiles, vision and mission. Now, we have spoken about vision and mission when we have started off our journey of marketing. But the current profile, if you see, of Apple, former CEO obviously Steve Jobs, we all know that. New CEO, the current CEO also, is Tim Cook. The revenue is around $156 billion, 2012. Worldwide operation, headquarter based in California in US, and their employee strength is around 75,000 across the globe. The mission statements are more the action-oriented work. Now, the mission statement as an organization is, Apple is committed to bringing the best personal computing experience to students, educators, creative professionals, and consumers around the world through its innovative hardware, software, and internet offerings. Now, here the keyword here is two keywords in the mission statement. One, committed. Now, commitment itself is a heavy word. There is a difference between if you're being interested and being committed to. If you're interested, you might do, you might not do. If you're committed, you will do it at all costs, because there's a lot of intention involved in commitment. If you speak of interest, so if I'm to use this word, that there's a great difference between should and must. Should is you have a choice whether you want to do it or not, but must, you will do it. That means you have to do it. There's a great difference between should and must. There's a great difference between being interested and being committed. That's one of the keywords. The other keyword is the best personal computing experience. Now, let me tell you, friends or students, that one of the things that really touches human life like nothing before are the feelings that the product or the person or anything that the customer experiences. The feelings are important, and there's no wonder that Hollywood or Bollywood does so well, because they touch human experience. They touch emotional chord. So when you speak of a McDonald's, it's not about the burgers. It's about the experience that the kid or the adult undergoes through in that atmosphere. So it's about the experience. So any industry, if you're going to touch human lives, that's something that moves individuals, that really propels people ahead. A lot of time they say that breakthroughs come when people are touched to a great extent. It could be either through pain or through pleasure. Now, the pain and pleasure are final emotions or the experience about it. So Apple is committed to bringing the best personal computing experience to students, educators, creative professionals, consumers around the world. And the vision statement. Vision is the guiding philosophy of the organization. They are looking for, what is it that they're looking forward 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line? And the vision statement, again, they have picked up the same word. One, we are committed in producing high quality products and providing high quality services, thus setting high industry standards for other competitors. Now, in vision also, they have said about committed, and they've also discussed about high quality products. Very important to understand this, because let me tell you that if you're delivering a high quality product, one of the prime philosophy that Apple always works in, that their philosophy remains that if you want to create value at the marketplace, that's for the organization, but even for an individual as well, if you want to create value at the marketplace or in the organization, one of the prime philosophies and thumb rule is be valuable. If you are giving value, delivering value, that the individual is touched, moved, then you will grow in life, be it as an individual or as an organization. So anything that an individual or as a company need to check out what kind of value they can give at the marketplace, and by delivering good quality products. So when I say quality, a lot of time it is perceived that quality comes with a price. But let me also tell you that people who sell quality products always have this philosophy that quality always costs less. And how is that? How is quality going to cost less? Now, when we say quality always costs less, we only look at pricing at a particular point of time, and specifically we look at pricing at the point of purchase. Now, quality has to be looked in over a period of time. Now, if you're buying a Sony product or an Apple product, it will last that long. And we also need to factor in things like the post-sale service, like are there any maintenance costs to it? Is it a service-free kind of product or a free service product? So quality, if you see in the longer run, costs less, because you need not invest more money for its maintenance, or maybe for a repair, or maybe for an exchange, or maybe for a new product itself. So the vision statement is also says the same thing, that in producing high quality products, they're also providing high quality services, and thus setting high industry standards. They are saying that they not only giving high quality products and services, but they're setting the standards. Now, any company or competitor company, they look at Apple as a benchmark. Say, for example, Samsung, a very close competitor in the category that they also operate in, they also look at Apple as a benchmark. In fact, they have replicated and copied lots of same technology from Apple. Okay, so if you see Apple Incorporation's product market share in local international markets, let's see, this is something interesting. So from where Apple is making money, If you see, the flagship brand of the product is iPod, still is 42% is coming from iPod. Macintosh is closely, the computer's model is closely followed by iPhone. In maybe 2-3 years of time, you will find that iPhone's taking over of computers and then the iPods. But this is the categorization. If you look at the financial history from 2002 onwards, if you see in 2009 onwards, it was a real meteoric rise. Now, the growth cycle for majority of products or companies always remain the same. They keep on building. So if you see from 2002 to 9, they have gradually improved on phase off. And then a point came where they have kind of went ballistic about it. That means they kind of went off their roof in terms of growth. If you see from the chart itself, from 2009 onwards, they kind of went off their roof in terms of growth. And 2012, they are touching real high figures. Now, global market share. Let's see where are the revenues coming in terms of continents. Now, the major chunk, close to 40%, that 37% is coming from America, and Europe is constituting 23%. So if you see, roughly 60% is coming from America and Europe, and the balance from the other countries. Okay, current growing products in Apple, definitely iPhones, and if you make a similar case study in say around 2020, and if you study Apple closely or track Apple closely, you will find that iPhones will definitely be a clear winner in terms of market share. So when you're looking from perspectives, iPhone from a BCG Boston Consulting Group matrix, if you recollect that, iPhone at this point of time is a star product, and Macintosh or iPod are the cash cows at this point of time. So let's look at the competitors as well in terms of the product line. The competitors are quite a few. If you see, we have the iMac, the iPod Nano, iPad, iPhone 5.6, iPhone 5s, 4s, MacBook Air. And for all these categories, they definitely have defined competitors. And the competitors range from Acer to Dell to HP to Toshiba to Microsoft to IBM. Quite big size companies as well. And these are all IT companies as well. In the smartphone industry, so these were about computer competitors, but if you see from an iPhone perspective, the competitors are Google, Sony, Samsung, HTC, BlackBerry, Nokia as well. Great. From iPads industry, the close competitors are Samsung, HTC, HP, Dell, Sony, Amazon as well. Now let's look at the SWOT analysis, or strength, weakness, opportunity, threat of Apple as well. Let's look at some of these strengths of Apple. Number one, it is faithful customers. Now, when I say faithful, faith is generated over a period of time. Faith or trust, that means that they have always given a quality product. They have always given a value proposition. That means if you are buying an Apple phone, you are definitely get these things. It could be an experience. It could be a quality product. It could be a quality service. So we have a faithful customers. Number two, Apple is a leading innovator in mobile device technology. That's where creativity and innovation comes in. They kind of doing great breakthroughs in the area. They have a strong financial performance with no debt, and that's important to understand. And they have a great brand reputation. And when you say brand reputation, that means they have created such a strong presence in terms of the customer's mindset or TOMA, top of the mind recall, that the time was where people used to connect their identity with the brands, just like they used to do with Mercedes, the BMWs, the Ferraris. That was about automobiles. But these days, the same kind of brand perceptions, they had the rub-off effect on their iPhones as well. Now, when we speak of trust, how is this for it? When they were launching the 4S model of iPhones, huge customers were there in queue for the launch to get their iPhones. There were lines right from the morning on the day of the launch to get their new iPhones. The Apple brand strategy model, if you really look into the target audience, they have a need. Yes, they definitely have a need, and that's about technological need and technology. If you see, IT is the number one growing industry as far as that size is concerned. And then they have a brand promise, fills the need and reflects your passion. The brand personality is the style with which you deliver your promise. So it's not only about just meeting the need. I have always mentioned in the past as well, gone are the days of customer satisfaction. These are the days of customer delight. It's about under-promising and over-delivering. It's about superior technology. It's about giving something more. It's about value-added services. It's about creating additional edge over competition. It's about being superior, heads-on, way ahead, apart from the competitors. So that's where you start adding personality to the brand as well. And your brand position makes you number one so that the audience resolve their need with you, not the competition. In any areas, if you'll find, you'll always have competitors. Now, competitors could be the same technology. It could be about reduced cost. It could be about technological innovation. It could be about topographical advantage. It could be about national advantage. It could be about networking advantage. It could be any of those. But in spite of that, people still want to buy you because you are a better product than the rest. Competitors, as Apple is concerned, a clear and honest brand is a barrier to the competition. It helps you simplify, sell, and succeed. Now, one of the things that Apple also works in is simplicity. So when Steve Jobs whenever he used to meet the R&D team, he always used to mention, keep it simple. So when we say of creativity and innovation, it's not about thinking complex. It's about thinking simple. Sometimes, in fact, Apple has proved more often than not that simplicity is the thumb rule. If you have seen an Apple handset, there are so many smartphones available. But if you see an Apple handset, just one button, that's it. And if you see there's so many handsets available across the marketplace from competitors, you will have so many buttons available. Now, if it's a smartphone, why do you want so many buttons? In fact, Apple now goes ahead and think, why also one button? Because they just have, in the Apple handset, they just have one button, just a single button. And they're thinking ahead as well, why do we need that button as well? So that's about keeping things simple and making it more customer friendly so that any kind of customer can use that product very easily, irrespective of he's coming from an IT background or not. It's about delivering a superior product, yet it is very simplified, yet it is very tangible, yet it's adding value to your life and the experience as well. The weakness, this is about the strengths what Apple has. The weakness or areas that could be looked, that competitors look upon is one, high price. They definitely are pegged high as far as absolute cost is concerned. In the last, from 2009 to 2012 is where they actually grew exponentially. After 2012 or 13 period till 2015 now, their market share have been gradually been reducing because it's taken over by competitors, not only by Samsung but other players as well, because there are a lot of markets that are being opened up and explored. There are changes in management as well. With a change in management, there always happens a change in philosophy as well, in which the way they function. Their long-term gross margins have declined. The opportunities are high demand of iPad mini and an iPhone 5. This has been their shooting star as far as these categories are concerned, the iPads and the iPhone 5. Then the iTV launch as well is one of the prospective things that Apple can look forward to as opportunities to grow and develop. The growth of tabs and smartphone markets are markets that they have not explored. So if you see that 60% share was coming from Europe and America, but the other markets that they have not really tapped much, could be Asian market, could be African market, could be markets that they really have not explored much, could be Australian market as well. So strong growth of mobile advertising marketing as well is there. These are the opportunities. The threat that they have from competitors are rapid technological change. So when we start with Macintosh, their first computers, from then the iTunes or iPods to iPhones, the technology has been changing very fast. Now we have discussed in the evolution of technology as well. Earlier, say 500 years back, the speed with which the technology is to double vis-a-vis the last period was say around 30 to 50 years. With every 30 to 50 years, the technology or the scientific technology is to double vis-a-vis the last period. That fast it came. This was 100 years back. But now, in the era, in this 21st century, every 10 years, the technology is getting doubled. So that means we are living in a very dynamic environment. We are living with a very kind of turbulent phase where every other day technology is changing as well. So in that rapidly technological changing market, can Apple adapt to this technology? Can they ride the growth wave of creativity and innovation? And how long is the threat that Apple has? The tax increase on the excise duties of IT products, the rising pay levels of Foxconn workers who are the associate company who works for Apple, and the strong dollar. So if they are going to expand to other markets, then they have looked into the revenues that they're going to generate or the net incomes as well. So these are the threats as well. So for more than 35 years, if you see, Apple has been a trend set company, able to foresee the future of domestic computers and consumers electronics. It will be continuing it because Apple's other name is innovation, and Apple know how to think different, and that is something of a case, isn't it? So their tagline or slogan as far as Apple is concerned always remains as stay hungry, stay foolish, because when you start thinking that you know, that's the start of a declining phase. So the tagline also sums it up as well: stay hungry, stay foolish, and think different are the tagline that they work on. Great. So this was about the Apple story, the number one company across the globe, the company that all aspires to look into the case, how they are growing, they evolving, they're developing, how they are able to every time create, innovate into a new league. Great. So that's about the Apple story. We move on to our second case, and that's interesting as well. So let's now look at some Indian counterparts, some other sectors, some different niches. Oh, Flipkart. It has been, Flipkart we all know, search engine. It has been a winning run so far for Flipkart. It has been a tip of the iceberg. It has been a dream run, if I'm to call it, till now as far as Flipkart is concerned. It also has put India on a world map as far as this sector is concerned. So let's understand and know the success story of Flipkart as well. Great. So first, if you see, Flipkart, India's largest online store. Now, that few details that is important, relevant from our context. It is the leading Indian e-commerce company headquartered in Bangalore. Now, it started off by two IIT graduates, earlier employed by Amazon in the year 2007. Now, understand, Flipkart 2007, and we are sitting on 2015, 8 years is what Flipkart is. So, less than a decade, and it really created a niche for themselves. They are India's largest online bookseller with over 11.5 million titles in offer. They added other products like media, electronics, personal healthcare as the company grew, expanded and evolved. It boasts of 100% growth every quarter since founded. I repeat this statement as it's very interesting to really revisit. 100% growth every quarter for the last 8 years. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's substantial. I think that's something to grow for roughly a decade now. It's funded by owners. The Bansals are the owners of the company. They are also funded by VCs, ASL India and the Tire Global, the asset management companies. Their projected sales for the year 12-13 stands around $10 million US and sells around 20 products per minute is what the strike rate is. It's the first company to introduce cash on delivery payment system. So they were innovative in this area. So they were the first company to launch the COD model, because cash on delivery model, because earlier it was the model where people had to pay maybe by credit card, and without that the products could not have come to the place. But now they have started off the cash on delivery model. They have the first mover in the Indian online retail industry. So they were the first, they always have the first mover advantage to come first in the marketplace, to build on itself as well. They have registered user bases of 2 million customers. That is some size, especially when you are looking from a 7 to 8 period of time base. Great. Few other statistical data which is also relevant from our perspective. Number one, that top 30 websites in India. So among all websites available in India, they fall the top 30 websites. And when we say top 30, it is based on the visits offered, it's based on the purchase done, it's based on the visibility as well. So based on that, they belong to the top 30 sites. 11.5 million titles available with Flipkart, 8 million visits every month, 4,500 current team strength in 27 cities across India. There are 30,000 plus items shipped per day. So that also speaks of volumes of what kind of businesses they are doing as well. They are projected to be India's first billion-dollar internet company by 2015. Now, when I say $1 billion company, it's roughly around, in fact, as I'm making this presentation this year, they would be hitting that score of $1 billion. Now, $1 billion is roughly around 6,500 crore company. Now, 6,500 crore company or a $1 billion, normally a company takes around 25 years or 30 years or 3 decades to touch it. Flipkart has done in less than a decade. That's an achievement in some kind. So let's look into the Flipkart bookstore, because that's where they started off with, the bookstore. The target customers, if you see the Flipkart, are students, academicians and corporate executives, book lovers, normal people who visit their other categories as well. It could be things like the gift articles, the stationery, gym sets, sports shoes, lots of that. These are the target customers. Their vision and mission, that's something of interest. And because the company was actually started off by ex-employees of Amazon, their vision statement is they want to become Amazon of India. Now, Amazon is some size as international scenario is concerned, but looking from an Indian standpoint of view, this is what their founder members' vision is. They want to become Amazon of India. And their mission is, the immediate objective is, it's providing a delightful and memorable customer experience. So if you see in Apple as well, and also in Flipkart, it's about giving an experience to the customer is important. So providing a delightful, so we are always thinking of delight in today's language, and memorable, because something they can remember, take back home. Memorable experience, customer experience. And the objective, when we say of objective, it's about goals. It's about completely hassle-free shopping experience with best prices in India. Now, let's discuss the objective a bit more. Okay. Now, if anytime you have visited a Flipkart portal, be it on your mobile or on your hands or on your laptops or PCs, you'll find that they are very customer friendly. You have obviously the app which is there for mobile, but even the website is very customer friendly. They have tracker systems that once your order is placed, or whatever order you place, it gets into a tracker mode pretty fast. It keeps you in the loop where the order, first the confirmation of the order, then the processing of the order, then the tracker in terms of the shipment, and then the delivery. So every phase is the customer is kept into loop about the development of the order as well. So that's about the objective. Now, when you look from the Porter's 5 forces of the Indian e-commerce market, so we'll look into the Porter's 5 forces model. Now, existing, if you see, they're attractive. Entrant, if you see in the same market, really not attractive. because now it is saturated with lots of players. Now, the threats of the new entrants, which the chances are moderate, are low capital investment. Anybody could walk in with even a small capital investment, they can take off. High technological intensive players. So, if you see in this market, the numbers of players who are operating are not very high because it requires a technical know-how of the marketplace. Then we look into the bargaining powers of the buyers, which is high. If you see the presence of multiple players and traditional retail stores and cheap and old used book vendors, so if you see these factors also play in. If you see bargaining power of suppliers are low, so we have large supplier base, decreasing popularity of printed books. So hard copies, the concept has really come down in the last decade or so. Threat of substitute is low because of traditional bookstores and advent of e-book readers like iPad and Kindle have really gained importance, and people these days have more transformed into the e-form of learning, the electronic form of learning. Since the world has moved electronically as well, be it from courier, be it from salary statements, be it from job portals, be it from search engines, be it from Google, be it from projects, everything. So, since electronically it's being integrating all platforms, this becomes a very good tool. So, the earlier versions, maybe the bookstores here, really lag behind. Great. Let's look into some analysis, the PEST analysis framework, wherein we see the political framework, the economical framework, the social framework, and the technological framework. So we'll look into from each category what does the impact it has on Flipkart. From a political perspective, it's about government support for increasing internet penetration in India. You'll find that government has been soft as far as increasing the internet usage as such is concerned. So a lot of tax subsidies are there. Tax benefits to corporates are there as well. The 2012 increase in stock holding percentage for foreign investors in companies have gone up. So funding is made easy for internet companies. Resistance against foreign retailers, if you see, at some pockets are there, some are not there as well. From an economical angle, or the economies in which Flipkart is moving around, so when we look at the economic environment, it has been the booming Indian economy where it is pegged in the world's top 10 economies of the globe, and by 2020 to come in the top 5. So it has been the right place at the right time as far as Flipkart is concerned, where there is an increasing spending power of the customers. There's skyrocketing fuel prices as well. So commutation cost could be avoided because everything has come to just a touch of the screen. The base of internet use is multiplied by 10. So if we are actually doubling, we are not only doubling, we are actually quadrupling the use of internet across even the rural areas has gone up to 11 times. If you see in the last 6 years, the usage of internet has gone up roughly 10 to 11 times with some size. So when you're looking from a Flipkart perspective, they are definitely there at the right time, at the right place. Let's look at it from a social perspective. Now, socially, when you see they have better comfort level and trust in online shopping, because earlier when Flipkart ventured into this online model, it is always a question of trust because you don't get to see the product, can't touch the product. since it's an online. So, so that's the risk that Flipkart took in as far as the medium of marketing was concerned and medium of selling was concerned. But as time grew by, people are very comfortable with this medium as well, where these days people buy vegetables online, groceries online, everything actually online. There's a high priority on time and convenience. Now, if you want to go out to a marketplace to buy a book or any other product, you need to spare of time, and time is a novelty these days. And also, Flipkart on a lot of cases have been propagating the concept of delivering the product within 48 hours on a lot of their product categories. So it's about convenience as well. You need not restrict your purchasing time from a 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. kind of time. You can do a shopping or purchasing at 2 a.m. in the night or 4 a.m. in the morning. So that kind of convenience it gives to the customers. There has been an improving usage of broadband and high computer literacy. Overall, in Asian markets, the literacy of computers, that means people are more aware of computers these days. Technologically, if you see, the advent of mobile shopping has gone up. So a lot of mobile apps are available. So has Flipkart as well. So if you have a mobile app, a lot of companies give coupons or add-on advantages with mobile apps. So with the advent of mobile shopping, this becomes easy as well. There has been an increasing penetration rate of broadband and wireless internet as well. That is also on the rise. There are better managed e-commerce commercial sites for ease, privacy and advancement in net banking. Because whenever people used to have a fund transfer online, people were a bit skeptical about it considering the safety norms, especially in Indian markets. So with the development of the web and web security services, even in the financial guidelines through RBI, where NEFT RTGS these days are very commonly spoken about with online transaction mediums as well. So technology also, even if you see from the PEST framework, be it from political framework, economic framework, social framework or technological framework, it has been at the right end as well. Okay, let's look at the selling new books is concerned. Few data which are interesting as well. So if you see online booksellers, the 20% market is direct. So if you see in this category, the Flipkart is a clear-cut market leader with 80% of market share. The second, not even a distant second, is Infibeam with 7% market share. It's an outright clear winner as far as online booksellers are concerned. The others being Bookada with 5% and others eBay, Times India. India Times is 8% market share. If you see the vis-a-vis, the traditional booksellers, 80% market share, which are the indirect one. There are general book categories, the fragmented over countries, and branded book chains include the Crosswords, the Home Book Depot, the Landmark, etc. in tier 1 cities only. So they have certain disadvantages attached as far as location and network is also concerned. Flipkart's long-term objective, understand that any company who wants to do well in any kind of business environment, they need to be looking at long-term, because a lot of time, generally they say that people generally overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. I repeat this, it's very important. People or companies normally overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So that means that if your direction is straight, if you are persistent, consistent, endurance, and yet be flexible to change your approach as time goes by, it's sure that you will succeed. It's just a question of time. And it's just like a giant wheel. The giant wheel it's a very slow process to start off. It requires great effort initially, but then as you keep building up, it's just like a freight train picking up speed. Initially it's very slow, very difficult process, but once it starts picking up speed, a time comes when you really can't stop it. That means it gathers a momentum and really pitches up speed like never before. So if you see so for a company, the long-term vision is important. So for the long-term objectives of Flipkart, their strategic objective is Flipkart aim to become the largest retailer of India. Flipkart wants to present across all categories except in groceries and automobiles. The CEO said that our target is not just those who shop online. We want to highlight the convenience of e-commerce to traditional offline shoppers as well, and thus help the market grow. So if you see the financial objectives, absolute tangibles, if you see, it's around $100 million revenue in 2012, diversify product portfolio into home appliances and electrical appliances. In 2015, if you see, their objective is to touch $1 billion. Aggressive acquisitions who would help to build collaborative businesses, be it in terms of delivery channels, networking partners, advertising partners, strong SCM or supply chain management, and the objective, their vision statement to live by 2020 is they want to become the largest retailer in India and enter global marketplace as well. And let's look into some statistics which are interesting. So on x-axis we have pricing, and we have divided this into, if you see the x-axis on the slide, we have divided it into low, medium and high, and the y-axis we have taken up brand awareness. That means how much of the visibility of the brand is there in the people's mind. So there also we have divided into low, medium and high. And on the top right of the chart on the graph, you will see the zones of each, and it is shown in the graph by circles or ellipticals. If you see Flipkart is right at the top, and if you see the yellow, which is Infibeam, the second online bookseller, and we also have the book Adida as well, and there are traditional bookstores. If you see this graph carefully, you will understand that the pricing is very high of traditional bookstores, but the brand recall or registeredness is very low, and which is the reverse in case of Flipkart. So if you see, strategic map suggests that neither brand awareness nor prices are key success factors in the market. Since Flipkart is not the industry leader with high brand equity and lower prices as well. Let's look into the second dimension of it, wherein on the x-axis this time we have taken network. That means the network through which the company is available at different locations, and the y-axis again is brand awareness. If you see, the strategic map suggests that network reach of fragmented bookshop is name of the game. That means if you are networked well with your product, you will reach out to your customers. So they say there's a saying in Hindi. It says that the earlier saying was "Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai." That was the marketing concept. Means whatever is seen will be sold. But then the new dimension is "Jo dikhta hai, wahi bikta hai." That means whatever is only seen is only sold. So that means visibility and networking for that visibility becomes a key role. So that means the rules of games have changed and is amplified due to low internet penetration and online shopping awareness in India. But with changing trends, Flipkart will move to high reach and thus grow its market share based on other competencies as well. So if you see this chart, the traditional bookstores again, they have the network is high, but the brand recall value is low. And so is the case with the online bookstores of Infibeam and Book Agita. Now let's look into pricing versus delivery. So we have delivery on the x-axis and y-axis pricing. And the traditional bookstores are right on top there as far as the pricing is concerned. The high pricing but the deliveries are low. The strategic map says that low delivery time is a key success factor, KSF. It is obvious that physical bookstores will give immediate delivery. It's like cash on delivery. While for any online bookstore, it will take a number of days. Flipkart is low on delivery time and guarantees 3 days delivery at several items, but physical bookstores also take advantage of on-the-spot buying behavior as well. That's an advantage. If you see the KSFs in India's new book markets, if you see, the key success factors could be weight. The network reach is 10 on 10. The delivery by and spot buy is 10. The total weighted score, if you see, is 10. So 80% is what the physical bookstores have, and with Flipkart it's 16% as far as new books are concerned. So if you're seeing confusion, competition in India's new book market, if you see, the online bookstores and the physical bookstores are the competitors for Flipkart. The online bookstore market projected is 30 to 35% in the next 5 years. 52 million active internet users with only 40% online shoppers. It's a huge chunk to be explored. The largely scattered physical bookstores across the town and cities, so they are not really networked well. The spontaneous physical buying behavior of Indian customers visiting malls as well. We also have books among the most gifted items in Indian youth. So it's also about, since learning and education has grown up as well, so does the concept of books as well. Displays large disparity between online and physical bookstores target customers. The online bookstores will eat the market share of physical bookstores, but only after customers are transitioned to internet medium of purchase. So if Flipkart has to make real inroads into customers, they also need to see the technology is also reaching out to people and places as well. Flipkart will be directly competitive with online bookstores while increasing the trend of online book shopping behavior through its excellent service. That has been the thing. Now, we also look into pricing versus brand awareness. Now, in this, if you see, the strategic map suggests that both price and brand awareness are key success factors in the market, especially in the Indian market more so. Flipkart is an industry leader with 80% market share, having a very high brand awareness and pricing value. We have other key tangibles as well. We measure it vis-a-vis availability and convenience. If you see a strategic map suggests that both convenience and availability are key success factors. Convenience caters to user friendliness of portals, tie-ups and banks with reliable in transactions. Availability refers to number of titles as well, and also various types of editions. So here also, in terms of availability and convenience, Flipkart, the big circle is way ahead of others as well. The key success factors is brand awareness, convenience. So when we speak of convenience, it's about delivery time and reach, user interface experience, the tie-ups for safe and reliable banking, availability, the threshold factors. Threshold means the factors that will take the company to a different dimension would be being in a very new industry in Indian market. Almost every factor contributes to the key success of an online bookstore. Going forward, some of the key success factors will turn into thresholds as well. Now, since this is a relatively new market, now even if you see online as such, it has been a very new market relatively. So in this market as well, there are various threshold factors that the company contributes on. So if you see the key success factors online book market, if you see the yellow band which you will find at the bottom of your slide, if you see the total market, if it's of 100%, that is what weight means. Now understand, as students of MBA, friends, understand, you should be able to read data, because if you want to become good marketers or good marketing managers, we should have good sourcing to collect data, that's one, but we should be able to interpret and relate to it as well from our dimension. So why I'm using this data as well is, you would be able to, how do we interpret this data as well? So if you see the tangibles that we will compare are weight, that means the entire weight is the entire market, that's 100%. Flipkart is 80%. Infibeam, Book, Adidas 7, 5%, others are 8%. Now, if you see in all categories, right from brand awareness, convenience, and convenience includes delivery time, delivery reach, user experience, reliability, availability, pricing, all weighted score, they contribute, they are leaders in each of these segments. And not only leader, the second is a distant second. They are nowhere close by. And normally, if you have competitors close by, that means normally competition exists between what? Normally in any industry, the number one has a market share, especially the matured markets, have a market share of around 20%. If it's very much saturated market, the market leader could be 7%. Say for example, pharmaceutical market, a very old market, matured, saturated market. The number one company in India is Sun Pharmaceutical, and the market share is just about 8.5%. Now 8.5% is the number one player, and the number two are then staggered around 6.7, followed by companies like Pfizer, Glaxo, Panacea companies. So they're all staggered around 5.5, 4.5, 3.3. So these are all matured markets. But since online is a niche market, a new market, they are around, market leader is 80%, and the other distant 7%. Flipkart's existing triangle, the key success factors as we have defined, the brand awareness, convenience, availability and price. The competencies that they are looking forward is excellent product delivery, self-owned delivery channels. This is we want to rely on some outsourcing factors, the supplier network, the first mover advantage, the payment mode and modality, the excellent services, the internet strategy, and the large loyal customer base. And the value proposition that they want to make is completely hassle-free online shopping experience with best pricing in India. That's about the existing triangle. But now the new triangle that they want, and they want to raise that bar. So critical success factors from what they had earlier was brand loyalty they have written. with the user experience reliability. They want convenience, which was always a part of that triangle, availability. So they have built in brand loyalty. When you see as competency, they are the same, but here they want to build a large cell phone delivery channel, supplier network first to the market. The mobile shopping solution increased reach as well, innovation in services as well. It could be in payment, it could be in technology, it could be in internet strategy as well, with a large loyal customer base. And the value proposition again obviously being completely hassle-free shopping experience with best services to everyone, everywhere, and every time in India. So that's what the value proposition that they're looking forward to from here on. So students, you need to understand that however good you might be doing, be it as individual, as companies, you should always have that frame, what I can do better. If you think you have already done better, then you are kind of trying, you'll get stagnated pretty soon. So however fast you are growing, you always need to, there's always the next level, the next bar. So you always ask the question, what's next? What else I can do? What is it that I've never explored? What is it that I've never tried? What is it that I need to look at differently as well? What all new resources I can try or explore? Or what are things that has stopped me from growing? So these are the powerful questions that people and companies need to ask to themselves to grow and evolve. If you see the objective, the future, they are looking, if you look at the yellow band, the weighted average, they are looking at 90% of market share in the period from 2015 to 20. This is what the future that they are looking forward to. The conclusions, if you see, as far as Flipkart is concerned, they are looking at convenience. That means they are looking, convenience still remains the name of the game. That means they want to develop an online mobile shopper still remains a strong and convenient touch point with main factors as delivery. They want to look into that the products reach on time at different locations, at difficult locations as well. They are looking at brand loyalty. When we say brand loyalty, that means excellent user experience. A loyalty will only come in if you are giving wonderful experience to a customer on the e-commerce website. So it's about speed, clarity, usability, user friendliness as well, and availability as well. When we say, it's very important if you are in a retail segment, the availability of a product is important. So it's about choice and availability of printed modes of ebooks will play a major role in catering to a larger audience. Suppose if you look at a book as an example, and if you, say for Flipkart for that matter, if you have a list of books to select from and half of the books are not available, say for example, so it leaves a bad taste in the customer's mind, and that's not a good experience that the customer cherishes up. Once in a while is okay, but if consistently products are not available, then somewhere within the customer's mind, their image is tarnished. There is a denigration of the perception of shopping experience with the service provider. So when you're looking at SWOT, so the strength what Flipkart has is customer service, online discoverability, the brand that they have developed, the inventory management, self-owned delivery, the supplier network, innovation and competency. The weakness which has no control over small value orders. So we don't have real control over that. The free shipping and build cost. So what Flipkart has done, they have now raised the bar from a free thing. They have come with a purchase of 500 or above, the shipping will be free. Less reach as compared to physical bookstores, because physical bookstores, the accessibility is there. The global reach is what the weakness it has as of now. As of now, it's very strong in Indian market, but need to look up to explore. Opportunity that Flipkart has with them is untapped mobile users, coverage of all parts of India, the ups with book fairs, education institutions, enter new untapped global markets as well. The self e-publishing as well. The threats that Flipkart has as low internet penetration, less usage preference of online buying, small value orders in remote areas with high delivery costs, because if it's a free shipping, even if it is 400 and above, then it's a cost, because delivery is costing to the service provider, in Flipkart in this case. And the bigger players, the big fishes are entering the market. So Amazon is entering, has already entered, but entering in a big way will make a big difference as far as Amazon is concerned. And the strategic options filter specific to Flipkart's bookstores, if you see, on the left hand side, they clear the giving insight. Increase the reach using mobile platforms, because mobiles are used by everyone. Tied with educational institutes that will give a head start. 3. Setting up e-publishing house by acquiring a right from authors, so they can have an in-house authors as well. Enter new untapped global markets, maybe to start off with some Asian countries, Sri Lanka, Burma, Nepal also. Reduce costs by increasing warehouses and supplies across the country, so lower dependency on third party or outsourcing companies. Increase margins through bundled deals from small value customers, and marketing efforts to educate Flipkart's reliability and safety shopping to conventional customers as well. Recommendation: in the short term, Flipkart must develop mobile applications. 2. Increasing margins while reducing losses. Provide small mobile outlets in cities as well, for whom internet is a challenge. The long term is enter new international markets. Focus on high margin products as well, like e-novels for our bookstores. Diversify into all product categories and get into economies of scales as well. Educate Indian conventional customer by marketing effort as well. Increase bulk selling, or make into a basket selling or packaging as well, to reach to student customer base as well. If you look into the framework of Flipkart, the output and the internal actions, now it's in the balance. The outputs are the market share and new markets, brand value and brand loyalty. The inputs are availability, mobile apps, excellent customer service and quick delivery. So innovative and products are what they are looking at. So if you look at from the CCC, or the Customer Company Connect framework, the connect to customer increases the reach, promises customer value proposition, provide the customer best price, service and quality, and respect the customer and win over loyal customer. So they have constant innovation, cost advantage, employee strength and supplier relation. Let me tell you, lot of companies are looking at, especially the online companies, are looking at Flipkart's model of how they have grown as well. First, it was a risk, especially to venture out in a new segment, especially the online model. Then the books, which was not really a great market in India to start off. Plus, they have pursued it. They were the first one to install the cash on delivery as well. So they've taken the risk and they've paid off as well. So if you're looking from Flipkart from here on from now, it's about exploring international markets. It's about tying up with educational institutes. It's about getting the connectivity to lower town cities as well, where mobile apps could be touched upon, and also to connect with educational institutes as well. This is the way ahead as far as Flipkart is concerned. Great. Third, we move on to the third case, and that's interesting as well. Now, a non-IT firm, the first two case studies we saw were IT related, or at least used the platform of IT. Third also will use the platform of IT, because you cannot in these days miss out on the IT Connect. So Meru, a very known name, if any part of the nation you belong to, but Meru, presentation on Meru, and that slogan itself says it all: rely on us. So let's understand a bit about Meru. So when you say of Meru, it's a modern, brand new, air-conditioned luxury cab. That's what they projected as when they entered the market. They are India's first and largest radio taxi operator. It changed the way metered taxi operate in India. Around the clock availability of cabs backed by location, tracking GPS, based dispatch technology. This means a quicker pickup and faster response time to a call for a cab. Now, somebody to enter into a segment which was as common as cab was a different thought to start off. But somebody thought differently, and they thought that cabs also are commonly available, and we have a normal taxi available across India. But they have identified gaps in this segment as well. And they also found and tried to plug those gaps as well. Advanced booking available as well, and on demand by using the customer service number through either an SMS or on the net, and operated by environment friendly fuel, CNG. So all things into one, and also a printed receipt on every fare, providing details of distance traveled and total amount payable. Now let me tell you what Meru gives and offers to the marketplace is: one, transparency. Now, in any market you are operating, if transparency is what you can offer to a customer, trust is first thing that you develop, isn't it? Now, and trust is a great thing if you can get from a customer, because if you are transparent, you have few things very clear. Their blocks on which they operate is very clear. The slab is very clear. They are transparent. The kilometers are very given as well. It's very convenient. You can call it up either to mobile or internet. The service, once you enter in a Meru cab, it's very different. They are air conditioned, number one. Two, we'll get into other areas as well. But this is a kind of, and there's also been an experience of traveling in Meru as well. It's a very daily used kind of stuff, but still very much different. The entrepreneur behind, the man behind the product, Neeraj Gupta, the managing director. If you see, the first generation entrepreneur, Neeraj Gupta created the finest radio taxi service in India under the Meru brand name. Under his guidance, now if you see, Meru has become a synonym to radio taxis. His entrepreneurial skills had made Meru a single largest radio cab service in India, with fleet size of more than 5,000 cabs operating in Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad and Bangalore. 5,000 cabs is some size. He has a simple mantra of success: self-belief, focus on goal, and giving 100%. According to Mr. Gupta, advice on budding entrepreneur is equally the same. He says that avoid all shortcuts, as they always lead to dead ends. It's only your hard work and true effort that give results. And that's what we have been talking about as well. Let me tell you, a lot of time, our short-term solutions are our long-term problem. If you're having a long-term vision, if you're consistent enough, if your direction is correct, success will come. And student, is very important to understand this. Be in any aspect of your life, think long term. Get your principles straight. Endure, perceive it. You will succeed for sure. The vision of Meru. Our vision is to give urban commuters in India a world-class traveling experience. Now, if you have students, if you have seen, there is a third vision statement of our case. Everybody is speaking of giving experience, the feeling, the emotions. By using a technology that has evolved in developed countries of the past 20 years. So, a few clicks of Meru, the entrepreneur. So, Neeraj Gupta is simply a commerce graduate from Mumbai University. Neeraj Gupta initially has borrowed 50,000 rupees to start a garage in 1998 from his wife and started Garage Elite, which was meant for only high profile clients. He started one bus for pickup facility for Tata Infotech, that's in 2000. Then got the contract of pickup facility for Citel India, a BPO outfit floated by Tata Infotech as well. By 2002, Neeraj was owner of few buses with a turnover of just 11 lakhs. In 2006 August, that's when Neeraj applied for a taxi service license offered by the Maharashtra government. 2006, again, less than a decade, 9 years. Today, Neeraj is managing director of Wheeling Taxis and owns a fleet of 5,000 vehicles, including 60 odd buses, with a turnover of around 250 crores, having operations in Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. Why this business? So when we asked Neeraj Gupta, this is what he mentioned. It was totally based on research. Number one, electronic meters were given. The digital one, the mileage was transparent, upholstery was developed in the vehicle, speed was there, and the driving comfort and experience of traveling as well. Meru, the name comes from Mount Meru, meaning center of the universe. The same term was taken from mythological belief rooted in Indian heritage. The name also defines the abode of Lord Brahma and the pantheon of god and goddesses. According to ancient texts, Meru mountain was the epicenter of the earth, and when churning of oceans took place, Mount Meru was able to withstand all the resulting turbulence as well. Meru, the brand, is a reflection of its name. The investors, the IVF for the India Value Fund, the premier private equity fund, the manager of a corpus of around 60 million took an equity stake in company with a view to create one of the finest passenger transportation business in India. The facts of Meru, launched in 2007 with 30 cabs. Understand, 30 cabs is a very minuscule size. October 2007, started pickup drop-in facility from Mumbai Chhatrapati Airport Terminus. Increased cab size from 30 to 200. Then extended to BMC limits. Launched driver training programs as well. In 2008, Delhi 250 cabs were launched. In Bangalore, 500 cabs. Hyderabad, 400 cabs. Launched Meru for Women, where safe, secure and convenient transport option was given. Launched credit and debit card payment in Bangalore as well. Then also in Delhi followed up. If you see, it has given a lot of recognition coming up, be it in Hindustan Times of India, and vis-a-vis the private taxis, they are a way ahead by some margin. And also in terms of taxi fares rates as well, they have been very much transparent about their pricing as well. Awards, when you speak of, during his journey with Meru Cabs, he has facilitated with lots of awards. He has been given the Entrepreneur of the Year award. It has been Udyog Ratna award in 2007. The Excellence Award by Institute of Economic Studies, the award from All Passenger Association, being the largest and the best taxi company in the country, and the Best Entrepreneur of Year Award from the All Passenger Association as well. Business model: agents from the companies go to the area where the drivers hang out, such as airport, parking lot, call centers, malls, and then explain business to them. Then they trained the drivers as well. So after the formal application, successful drivers pay a refundable deposit, an application fee, and undergo 2 weeks of training. The driver is then given a vehicle for which he has to pay a daily fee, and any profit after the fees and fuel expenses goes to the driver as well. The operator owns the vehicle in the fleet, and the vehicles are brought in the batches of 100 to 200 from various manufacturers. So after a period, the vehicle belongs to the driver as well. The driver are assured a certain number of fares every day. However, driver have to pay a fee if they take leave on the day of duty. The driver performance is monitored through GPRS module fitted in the car, and the global positioning system is tracked. This is for the safety and also for the transparency of the customer. As advertising is concerned, Cabvertise registers trademark of Meru Cab are the one who advertises on the vehicle and other places as well, also on internet as well. Vis-a-vis Easy Cab or other private manufacturers, they have great advantages right from to the driver, I mean to say, from low deposit, security, assured business, the trust, the brand loyalty as well. Advantage: thoroughly trained chauffeurs in a smart Meru uniform, fluent in English and Hindi. Routine spot checks for patrols to have high vigilance. Lost and found GPS technique. Some basic amenities like maps are given to track and for the ease of the convenience. And panic button that is installed inside a Meru car, which enables the driver to connect to control centers as well in case of any emergency or mishap as well. So what Rajesh Puri, the CEO, has to say, we are making entrepreneurs out of drivers. So they're in a way making entrepreneurs of the drivers as well. So that means they are empowering them not only of employment but also they're building assets as well. Meru really has created a name for themselves. So when we ask them what's next for Neeraj Gupta, so Neeraj has planned to develop his company V-Link into an end-to-end transportation company as he mulls over entering into a bus rapid transit system and also look forward to a private-public partnership along with Indian Railway as well. That's visionary thinking, isn't it? Great. So this was the third case, Meru, a standout name from a different sector. They are close to $250 million as of now. Again, less than a decade. The third case we will like to speak on in the coming 15 minutes. We'll take two cases. That's about one, LG, the rural marketing approach. So if you see the rural market in India, the Indian rural consumer, if you see, roughly around 6 lakh villages are there, and across the country, and 70% of the population lives in the country. So when we have discussed cases like Apple, which was a completely urban product, we have also taken, say, Meru, more urban product, and also Flipkart, more an urbanized kind of domain as of now. But we'll also look at the rural setup as well, especially from an Indian market or Asian market more so. 70% as such Indian rural market stays in villages, and for several product categories, the rural market accounts for close to 60% of national demand. And if you see increased branch numbers in rural market are there, postage of 93 area managers across the country as far as LG is concerned. And LG has been a symbolic name across the bandwidth of population in India. And Life's Good is their logo. They are delegating area managers with more power, making the dealings with the dealers more transparent as far as LG is concerned. They are publicizing by means of road shows, society demonstrations and localized show in rural India to penetrate the rural market and direct interaction with consumers as well. In rural market, they have a 4A approach. Now when we say a 4A, 1, availability. If you see the slide itself, it's there available across. That means 65 remote area offices of LG, 230 service centers, 2,600 mobile authorized personal staff. That's some size. Affordability, price. So when you're looking to enter into a rural market, you should have a price advantage. So Sampurna, that means the rupees 300, the Cineplus rupees 4,900. So availability, affordability, the other A is acceptability. That means the product localization has to be there. LG comes out from a Hindi and regional language, minus on its TVs. Now LG was the first brand to introduce gaming in TVs in continuation of its association with cricket as well. So a very household name as well. And the fourth A is awareness. That means through lots of promotion they have made the brand more aware. So supporting Indian cricket team, LG ki dua, all the best. Since they want to connect cricket, which has been itself a success across. Direct engagement with customers. So when we say of road shows, small group acts, role plays, they're connecting and engaging with the customers locally as well, making them use the product as well. Word of mouth publicity as well. So when we say word of mouth publicity, this has been one of the strongest methodology as well. So when they applied the 4A philosophy, the implications were this. Results, 20% of companies' revenue come from rural India. Largest market in color television. The positive customer perceptions. Now, LG ignored the growing and untapped potential of VIP buyers as well. Now, when you're looking at LG, they are battling it out in the two worlds. So even if you go to a Cosmo kind of tier 2 cities as well, there's always two worlds battling it out. It has to change its positioning as well. Now you can't just focus only on one market, you should be the best of both as well, and flexibility enough to adjust. So if you're looking from an urban populace, it's too late. That means it worked. LG is worldwide and LG India has two different worlds. It has the premium high-tech brand. In LG India, mass market strategy worked because if a company wants to be a market leader and successful in India, it has to occupy this space. These are the changing times as well. That means the rival Samsung already synchronized its latest range of LED TVs, touchscreen phones like Ultra Touch, Samsung Jet and side-by-side refrigerator as well. So these have been very rivalry as well. So when you're looking at the fourth case, LG is it has been primarily a dominant player in the rural market, addressing on electronics goods, refrigerator, AC, TV, washing machine, and household goods as well, mobile handsets as well. On the flip side of it, LG also has to look at the urban market as well. It should not be perceived as a brand to be only a rural brand. So it has to gain that reputation as well. So that's about LG. Great. We move on to the last case. Now, when we say last case, it's not a company or the brand to say it, but it's a sector in itself. And the sector is pretty interesting, and this is something that has touched all our lives as well, the mobile wallet. Now, when we speak of mobile wallet, still very niche in India, very emerging, but globally it's there, made its presence felt. So which industry we are talking of? Banking, yes. So what is an M-wallet? Now, why I have took up this case as well? Students, we should be knowing what's happening around as well. We should be knowing what's new as well. Because if you want to become good marketing managers or whatever, we need to be aware and updated about what's new as well. So what is an M-wallet? Now, it comes from mobile plus debit card or credit card plus many other services. It's a virtual money in your mobile account from which you can pay by just sending an SMS. So we are not here speaking of internet banking. Through an SMS, we can do transactions. It is a non-financial company storing funds in an e-wallet. This account may be loaded from anywhere by depositing cash. Now, the cell phone may then be used to access money from anywhere for any transaction. Now, understand, here there is a third party intervention over here. That means the banking is done by a third party. So, here the bank is not a third party. So, when we say of M-wallet, there is a non-financial company associated as well. Some history about it as far as M-wallet is concerned. It started in Japan as a solution to a problem of not having small change in gas station, ticket counter, etc. And this is something that we all face in our daily life. If you're going to a petrol station, if you don't have a small change in rupees or anywhere where the small transaction, either there's a problem of a change. This is where it comes in very handy, the M-wallet. The NTT Docomo started to offer M-wallet service in 2004. In Kenya, Safaricom have 150,000 M-wallet customers who deposit money in their mobile accounts and making the payment by sending SMS. So this is where a small history about it. Now, some services offered by M-wallet are one, the services that are offered are one, banking. That means withdraw money, make remittances and inter-account transfer. Now, important to understand, through M-wallet also we can do banking. So we have an internet banking as well, but through an M-wallet as well we can do banking. It could be an electronic wallet that is shopping at malls and retail stores where you did not swipe your cards, your debit or credit cards. Your e-commerce and e-trading, that means internet shopping and online financial transfers. So if you're doing a Flipkart and Amazon or Snapdeal kind of transaction, it can be done through an M-wallet. Or train tickets. So if you're going for an IRCTC site or bus booking site, you can do it through M-wallet. Or an electronic ticket per se, a ticket downloaded in your mobile in a digital format. So you have this QR codes these days. So these days if you're going to book cinema tickets, earlier it started off, they used to just give a code, and that code need to be reproduced at the cinema screen where you get the actual tickets. But these days that has been transformed, and where you actually get an electronic ticket on the mobile itself through a QR code, and that is decoded at the cinema screen. So no, it has become paperless. So electronic ticket also could be procured through M-Wallet. It could be other tools like membership in gym, in club, in libraries, etc. The identification and access control for employees and students as well. So it could be paying your college bills, your tuition fees, or even salaries as well could be done through M-Wallet. So if you see banking in the last 20 years, it really has come a long way. Gone the days when people used to go, if you want to go to a bank to even withdraw or deposit money, it was a half day off for you because long queues. And then with the evolution of ATMs to start off, with digital revolutionization, with internet also coming in and giving a platform for banking as well, and internet banking coming in, a lot of things has changed from there on. The banking, you don't need a physical bank. The bank is in your pocket or in your mobile, and that's where M-Wallet comes in. So you have a digital wallet. You don't have a physical cash, but you have a digital cash at your disposal. Now, what is the difference between M-Wallet and internet banking? Okay, so when we are thinking of internet banking or mobile banking, the customers can access his bank account through web-enabled handset, and he can make the transaction through the internet. There is no virtual money stored on his mobile account, and that's important to understand. The M-Wallet, if you see, here a non-banking company, that's a very important term to understand, a non-banking company storing virtual money in the mobile store of the customer, from which he can make transactions through SMS or through internet. So a non-banking company comes in. For example, there are non-bank, for example, Visa, the Master, the PayPal, M-Pesa. All these are all non-banking companies coming in, and they store the virtual money, and they are the actual link between the customer and the bankers. And there are no bank accounts also involved with M-Wallet. In India, an earlier version of M-Wallet was introduced with Bank of Punjab, offering service in the year 2002, by which its customers can purchase by sending an SMS at some point of time. But the bank in turn would send a message confirming the purchase both to the merchant and to the customer. That was a very primitive kind of model that existed in 2002. And then the resistance came in, where no M-Wallet could happen in India. And the RBI guidelines initially said that there could not be a third-party transfer of money, not through bank account. That's what the RBI guidelines earlier. And he expected that RBI will come with rules for M-Wallet, and they had come as well. Downloading ringtones by a prepaid account is a limited version of an M-Wallet to start off. It does not fall under RBI guidelines since there are no third party involved. But we are in the way of M-Wallet as of now. Delhi Metro Rail Corporation with Citibank M-Ticket, Reliance Communication with HDFC M-Pol, M-Pay and Virtual Credit Card, the Airtel with SBI, ICICI, Corporation Bank as well. If you see the cost involved are, if you see, in US it's less, in India it can be 0.8% to 1.5% of the total value of transaction due to low volumes of business. So if you see, the transaction cost per transaction based on the volume that they do is